Most men don't know what secure love looks like, or I don't think they know what healthy love looks like. See, for the most part, whether you're a man or woman, every person has a blueprint of what a relationship looks like or what love looks like, most likely from their parents. In other words, the people that raise them. Or it could be most likely movies or television for a lot of us. It could even be books. And then sadly, for a lot of men, it could be, God forbid, I'm even saying this, pornography is what, to some degree, what love looks like for some people. See, I was raised with a blueprint, and maybe you can relate to this, but I'm a tail end baby boomer Gen Xer. And the blueprint was go to college, get a job, meet someone, get married, buy a house, start a family. That was the blueprint of what I thought a relationship looked like. And I had a very simple criteria when I was in my 20s of what I was looking for. It was someone college educated that came from a good home. Like literally that was what my desire was, other than being physically attracted to the person, okay? But that was my blueprint. In fact, that was my blueprint for my entire life. Go to college, get a job, meet someone, get married, buy a house, start a family. That was the blueprint of what I thought happiness would look like. I had no idea of what I'm about to share next. See, I had no idea of something known as childhood wounds, love attachment style, poor emotional IQ, poor communication skills, and an unawareness to assess my feelings and my needs. I've been completely void of this my entire adult life. I was unaware of the wounds that happened in my childhood. And when we talk about wounds, it doesn't have to be something overly traumatic. It could have been simply something that happened where your mother lost you at the grocery store for a moment and you might have felt abandoned. And in that instant, and I'm using that as one example, that could have scarred a child that could affect them as an adult, particularly in romantic love. Something as simple as your mother lost you in the grocery store for 5 minutes. And that feeling of abandonment could be such a deep wound that it could carry in our life for many, many years. Now, sadly, many people have experienced deep abuse, physical trauma. Certainly that requires that we can navigate the idea of childhood wounds and traumas. But also in our imprinting as in our childhood, we imprint with our parents, oftentimes in an insecure way instead of a secure way. If you're not familiar with the book, Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, there's a link below to get a copy of the book I recommend. This book I recommend. You'll understand our love attachment style. And then add to that, we're talking about secure love. Let's add to that, the fact is most human beings have poor emotional IQ. They have poor relationship skills, and they're oftentimes unaware to assess their feelings and their needs and then be able to articulate that to another human being. So right off the bat, we're starting behind the 8 ball. And then all of a sudden, as I said earlier, remember television, movies, even books might be how we relate to love? I'm going to be candid with you. My whole assessment or my perception around love was based on a television show called Heart to Heart. I watched it at age 17 or 18, give or take my age, right around that time. And I thought that's what healthy, secure love looked like. This brief television show of this multimillionaire and a debutante, how they would solve crime each week. That was my narrative of what healthy love looked like. See, I was unaware that we human beings oftentimes attach to another person in an insecure way instead of a secure way. See, most of us haven't really experienced bonding in a healthy way. And I'm going to say most men, as well as most humans, rarely experience a healthy, secure way of attaching to another person. And what I'm about to share is going to reveal something radically personal And by the way, what I'm about to share, the person that's involved in this is aware of what I'm about to share with you. But as of this date, I'm recording this on January 27th, 2025. I'm going to read to you my journal. And as I said, I shared this personally to the person that's involved in this. So I want to give you an example of how I'm assessing and evaluating my feelings, my thoughts around connecting with a new person. And I'm differentiating between insecure attachment and secure attachment. So this is from my journal this morning. It's fascinating to experience something foreign to me: calm attachment. 3 weeks ago, I met someone through my social media pages for a casual drink. It's not a date, just meeting a fellow traveler of mind, body, spirit, and emotions. A person who invested years in healing from trauma, and they're committed to do the work to grow as a person. She was and is speaking my language, which intrigued me enough to want to see her more. Wait. And I must have done something right because she felt the same way. So we've seen each other 6 times in the three. This was 3 weeks ago when we had our first meeting. We've seen each other 6 times, more times. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I have no idea if this will last a week, a month, or a year. And yet what I do know, this feels calm and it scares the crap out of me. Let me repeat this. This feels calm and it scares the crap out of me. You see, love has always felt anxious for me my whole life. As an anxious attacher, I've always chosen an avoidant, and love has felt like a longing or chasing. Love has felt like a longing or chasing affection. My people-pleasing, insecure side would be driving the bus, always fearful the shoe would drop, which it always has. Whether it was trying to get love from my mom or choosing women that were just not that into me, convincing them to love me, insecure love feels normal. Calm feels so foreign, and I feel like I want to run away. This would be a whole lot easier if I was just chasing sex, but that's not the driving force in this dynamic. What surprises me is how kind, caring, thoughtful, open, easygoing, and calm this person is. I don't have to chase. That's not to say I'm not making effort. It's just the effort on my part is so well received, acknowledged, and appreciated. I don't feel the need to do more or go over the top. Look, I know it's only been a few weeks and a handful of dates, and yet I sense we are on a journey together, not knowing how long, to experience what secure care might look like. A part of me is saying, look, idiot, you've got what you've always wanted. And yet as I type this, that's the rub. Love isn't automatic. The action of love is leaning in when it's scary or feeling foreign. Let me repeat that. The action of love is leaning in when it's scary or feeling foreign. As I said earlier, it's just the beginning stages, so it's way too early and it's futile to project a future. So why I wanted to share this with you today is you are literally getting my raw feelings and my emotions about this person. This is my truth. I'm aware that I have conflicting thoughts in this particular case. I'm butting up against, this doesn't feel real, because I'm so used to something else that this person, who's a really sweet and kind person, and we've already got plans to see each other again this week, but it doesn't feel real. Everybody says love, you should just know it. But what if our past experience of love, what we think is knowing, has been our insecure attachment style? And the minute we meet someone who's actually, stable, that we think it's wrong. We think it's wrong. Now, I'd be lying to you if I don't have a fear of losing freedom. I mean, there is a sense of freedom that you lose when you begin a relationship with someone. I'm very aware of that. And I'm also highly aware that I've been addicted to the chasing. Online dating, swiping, and everything can be an addiction that needs to be weaned. It's very hard to just to stop doing something you've been doing for so long. So these are the myriad of emotions and feelings that I'm going through right now. I just happen to be hyper aware of my childhood wounds. And I'm going to be candid with everybody. My last relationship ending did hurt deeply. I deeply cared for this person. I thought I was going to go the distance, and I'd be lying if I didn't say there's residue from this past relationship that still is in my consciousness. These are all the thoughts and the emotions and feelings that I'm going through. I just happen to be vocal in public about it. It's interesting. I had a woman reach out to me for coaching. She'd been dating a guy for 4 months, and all of a sudden, he did a 180-degree turnaround on her and basically, negated all of the 4 months prior of all the love, the 11, 11, 11, the love, the affection, the care, all of that. And he basically said, I'm still hung up on my ex-girlfriend. I'm going to try to get back together with her. Like all of a sudden, after all of this effort. Now, I suspect that he was having thoughts and feelings, emotions prior to ever ending it with her. I suspect I highly doubt he processed his feelings. I highly doubt that he is aware of his love attachment style. I highly doubt that he's aware of his wounds that may cause him to feel possibly abandoned or rejected by someone. Most humans are suffering on an emotional level. We all seem to carry the same wound. I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, and I'm not likable. Most every human being is carrying this wound to some degree. And that's why love can feel so foreign, because we're so used to an insecure way of attaching to people versus a secure way of attaching to people. And I want to share a story about my son. There's a picture of Colin right there. A couple years ago, let's go back to when he was in college. He was in his college girlfriend. I would venture to say she's an avoidant attachment style, and my son is most likely an anxious attachment style. Okay. And that girl broke his heart when she ended in college, but he kind of sucked it up, kind of his first girlfriend, first love of his life experience. And he dated a few women, and then he went out with a woman he dated for 5 months, a very sweet gal. I mean, she's getting her master's degree. She's beautiful. She's kind. She's loving. His mother and I love this girl. But 3 months in, he said, Dad, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. And I said, well, give it a little more chance. She's a great gal. And 2 months later, he ended because he wasn't feeling it. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up this story is he recently had an experience with a young woman. Same thing, avoidant attachment style. He got attached and she broke his heart 2 months later. Now, it was only 2 months. But what I realize is he's not familiar with secure love. He had a woman who was probably a really good fit for him because it didn't evoke his anxious attachment style. It didn't evoke an avoidant within him. He wasn't experiencing insecure love. So he basically couldn't receive because he's only experienced insecure love in his life. Now, thankfully for my son, this weekend, he's going to be doing something known as Insight Seminars. Can someone post this in comment? Insightseminars.org, insightseminars.org. Actually, after this last experience, I encouraged him to actually begin doing the inner work on himself. Folks, as I'm sharing this publicly with you, I'm sharing you the granular emotions and feelings and thoughts that are going through my mind. They are not statements of fact. They're just thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are very fluid. I just happen to be more attuned because I spend a significant amount of time in this space of awareness. Most men don't know what secure love looks like. They're only used to insecure love. And so when they meet a woman who's calm and easygoing and kind, it feels so foreign because it doesn't trigger our mommy shit. It doesn't trigger our daddy shit. It doesn't trigger our past relationship shit. And we're all experiencing this. We are all in a stew, if you will, of these past experiences that have created the scripts of what we think love should look like. Most human beings haven't experienced healthy, secure love. They mostly enter in with insecure love. That's why it's so imperative to learn your love attachment style. Now, and for the sake of this story, I do want to say that I'm not running away. I'm noticing that my interest in her is exceeding my doubts, my fears, my pains. My interest in her is exceeding my doubts, my fears, my pains. And so if any one of you can relate to this, if you can relate to being an anxious attacher, only to find yourself with a good person and it doesn't feel like what you think it should feel like, well, maybe that's because we human beings, men and women alike, don't know what secure love feels like. We don't know what calm love feels like. Or at least that's my perception anyway. Now, I do want to share with everybody that we had a nice weekend together. We hung out. Actually, she was open to watching football with me. God, I'm bummed that the Bills lost. But I'm here to say that, you know what? I hope that this conversation opens everybody up to recognize that this thing we call love, most of the time we've experienced it in an unhealthy, insecure way. And it's rather fascinating to me to experience calm, easygoing kindness. And just to be, the fact that it's so foreign, even though, as I said earlier, this is what I've wanted, it still feels radically foreign to me. And I'm having to push past that comfort zone at this moment in time. Is this sinking in with you? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos as well. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to get all the books I recommend, all listed below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, there's a little chat box in the corner. Write the word question and then post the question thereafter. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. There's a little $sign in the chat box. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him there in his Obey shirt. He's my son who passed away over 6 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process, Insight Institute, and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50. $50. Way to go. All right. Annika says, thank you for sharing this journey, Jay. It helps so much. You know what? So, folks, I do want to publicly say that, looks like I met someone very special, and looks like we're going to explore getting to know one another. We've already got arrangements to see each other again. Now, I shared publicly how, first off, I want to acknowledge something that happened on our first date. And she was telling me about her lifestyle. And during her date, she mentioned how she had this thing going on, this thing going on, this thing going on, this thing going on. And I said, judging by what you said, you don't really have time for a relationship. And I made an observation about that. And she kind of did the whole, I'll make time for the right person. Folks, I want to share something my friend Ariel Ford did before she attracted her soulmate, Brian. And she realized that she had such a busy life that she didn't make room for a relationship. So what she started to do is actually carve out time on her calendar, literally, for empty space so she could begin making room. And she would buy 2 tickets to a movie, even though the seat was empty next to her, to make room for a life partner. So I'm bringing this up because many people's lives are so busy, they don't make room for a relationship. And when I said that to her, sounds like you don't have room for a relationship, she kind of acknowledged that. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because there was some criticism in my last video where I mentioned how she canceled a nail appointment to see me on Friday night. Now, I think you need to know some context. She said she had made a nail appointment at 6 p.m. on a Friday night, that she didn't care if she canceled or not. When I said, would you like to get together Friday night? She's like, I've got a nail appointment, but I'm going to cancel it. It wasn't like she was canceling something with friends or anything like that. It was not a big deal. But there was criticism that she was, by the comments in the video, that she was adjusting her life for me. First off, she was merely making room because it wasn't that big of a deal. Certainly, I would never encourage someone to cancel something if it was radically important to them. But she, by the way, on her own volition, decided to reschedule that appointment. But boy, were there a lot of comments from many of you about that. I made the reference because what I appreciate about her is she's very easygoing, accommodating. It's very, even she's very supportive of my work. She knew I was going to be, I read this journal to her this afternoon. Oh, I guess it was afternoon. This afternoon I read it with her. I told her I was going to make it public. She wrote me a sweet text message back saying, I want you to be transparent. I plan on sharing this experience in real life. I did want to make a comment because, a lot of other dating coaches, you don't really know the intricacies of what actually happened in the beginning stages of them joining up together. In fact, you rarely hear about it. You hear it months, if not years after the fact. I plan on being very transparent during this experience, particularly with my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings. I'm just going to be as transparent as possible because I want to show in real time the nooks and crannies of emotions that we experience when we begin to like another human being, and all of the fears, insecurities, and doubts. See, what I'm experiencing, these fears, insecurities, and doubts, is very normal. Most human beings stuff their emotions and don't really acknowledge them, but I'm going to be a guiding light for all of you to learn from my experience. And since many women are anxious attachers, you probably could relate to what I'm sharing. By the way, when an avoidant man meets a secure person, it's the same thing. It feels so foreign to them that they don't know how to navigate it. Whether they're anxious or avoidant, most men don't know how to navigate healthy love because it's so foreign to all of us. And the only reason why I'm capable of doing this is because I've been doing so much inner work to be in a space to appreciate this really special lady. All right, thanks for allowing me to share that. Looks like we have Annika in the house. Oh wait, Callie says, experienced the same thing and even tried to pull him into an unhealthy dynamic at times until I worked on becoming secure. Way to go, Callie. Annika's in the house. Are you sharing these feelings and thoughts with her? Would you recommend we do the same? My vulnerability has been used against me. By the way, my journal this morning, Annika, I did share with her. So mainly because I was going to tell her, I told her about this video. I did share it with her. And you know what? If she wants to, by the way, nobody can use anything against you. And if they do, it's a reflection of their character. And I think the minute someone uses your vulnerability against you, next, that's my belief. Roller Girl is in the house. Chaotic people help us become struck in fight, flight, or freeze or fawn instead of the freedom to be genuinely loving person we are. Indeed. Roller Girl is in the house. Thank you for the $2 super sticker. I appreciate the love. Callie also says, P.S. to a certain degree, the right person will be patient with you as you work through your stuff and vice versa. Absolutely. It's interesting. This person hasn't had a lot of, she hasn't had a relationship since her marriage ended a couple years ago. And her last time she ever went on a first date was 26 years ago. So I had a reservation about dating someone so green. I'm going to be candid with you. I have a reservation about dating someone who hasn't had their transition relationship or two. My suspicion is she doesn't need that, but I'm just very aware that that could be problematic. So while I have my reservation, while she might have her reservations about me because of what I just shared, I have my reservations about her based on what I just shared. By the way, if anyone wants to join me on the hot seat or love seat, I just posted a link right there. Gigi says, I have to make room for a relationship. People seem to dump things on me on my to-do list because I'm single. I'm never going to get unsingle if I allow them to continue. I would agree. Roller Girl wants to be kind. She's kind enough to say, you two sound lovely together. Thank you so much. Michelle, I usually get doubts way later than this early stage in relationship. I begin to always feel positive if there's attraction in the beginning. You know, Michelle, because I'm not chasing sex in this particular case, there's something else going on. When I'm chasing sex, I'm only focused on that I don't even pay attention to the balance of my feelings. That's just speaking as a guy. But then once you have sex and then that novelty wears off, you have to really face your feelings in that moment. And that's why it's usually later on down the road, because sex is usually on the brain. In this particular case, I'm not worried about that. All right, Gigi's in the house. Jonathan, you are 100% different than when you met Marie, and how you were when you met the woman recently who lived 2 hours away. You were cray-cray. We tried to point it out, but you got defensive. I can't remember who's the 2 hour away one. There's certainly, I am aware now that what I thought was healthy love was really my insecure attachment style. And certainly I know many of you pointed it out, and I recognize that, but this was part of my learning curve. I believe even this woman in my life is part of I think every human being that enters our life is part of our learning curve. But yes, Gigi, I know many of you were cautioning me, and now I'm going in I want to say cautiously optimistic. I'm not acting, insanely excited, but I am optimistic. And I do like this person. She's so sweet. You know what? It's very rare. It feels so rare to get such a sweet, kind person. That's what it feels like to me, because most people are so caught up in their head. They're so caught up in their lives. And I really appreciate this person who's just absolutely present with me. I'm going to repeat that. She's absolutely present with me. When she's with me, she's absolutely present. That's so foreign to me. I'm so used to people being, in the future, in the past, in the future, in the past, in the future, in the past. Or what can they get versus what they can give? You know what I like about this person? She operates from a place of not what I can get, but what I can give. It's very foreign, very attractive, but very foreign at the same time. Annika just gave us a $5 super sticker. Thank you for the love. And Sue X Malley just gave us a $10 super sticker. Thank you for the love. That means we're $33 away from our goal. Thanks so much. $33 away from our goal. All right, Trista's in the house. Do you think love is enough for men to make a relationship work despite hurdles, distance, work commitments, etc.? I think it's a fallacy to think love is enough. That's the biggest fantasy. You women are suckling on the nipple of love will solve all your problems. It doesn't. By the way, if there's distance involved, that's a problem. If they have work commitments, that's a problem. Doesn't necessarily mean you can't overcome them. But just remember, You need regular time to build trust with someone, and it can't be built over the phone. You can just build some familiarity over the phone, but you can't build deep roots of trust over the phone. Gigi says, we like this connection for you. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Oh, by the way, how old is she? She is 3 years younger than me. 3 years. Wait, let me make sure. Technically 3.5 years younger than me. No, 2.5 years younger than me. 2.5 years younger than me. Callie says there's nothing better than two givers. You know, I want to be mindful because she's been very kind and generous. And so she's been very, like, I like her energy. It's very kind and generous. And I hope I meet her with that kind, generous, giving energy as well. I hope she could say the same thing. Tatia says, does your recent love interest have a regular 9-to-5 job? No, she's self-employed, and it seems like she has flexibility, but she has a very, and by the way, she has a high-end business. I can't say what it is, a high-end business, but I don't get the sense that she is trapped, you know, by that. But just like me, you know, I have my times when I work, and I suspect she does have the same thing. But she's self-employed, which gives her flexibility. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? So we talked about most men don't know what secure love looks like. Folks, I don't think I know what secure love looks like. I only know what insecure love looks like. And now I am like a deer in the headlights. But I feel calm. That's the one thing I feel right now, is radically calm, which feels so foreign to me. It scares the shit out of me. All right. Thanks for allowing me to share. Lulu's in the house. I've been talking to a guy online over the phone randomly. He said we are old friends. Now we're been talking for about 4 months, and I don't know why he said so. I can't answer that question for you either. There's not really a question. Why did he say so? Oh, I think what he's saying is there's so much familiarity between the two of you. Okay, I get it. There's so much familiarity between the two of you that it feels like he's talking to an old friend. Just remember that this is just a cyber relationship. It's not real until you've invested time doing social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, sitting at home and Netflix and chill. All of those things are how you build the deeper roots of trust with another human being, not over the telephone. You just build some familiarity, and that's what he's experiencing, is my guess, Lulu. All right. Oh, and you said thanks. Well, you're very welcome. Joe Daisy says, presence is key and something I had to work on. It feels so good to be in that energy. Yeah, it's fascinating to me how really present this person is. That wasn't the case in my last relationship. It wasn't that case. I mean, not to, by the way, my last relationship is a beautiful, kind, loving, caring human being. No disrespect whatsoever, no judgment, no anything. But there's a difference when you're in a state, when you're with somebody who's absolutely present with you. And that's what I'm experiencing in this particular case. Jane Spitfire says, secure love from a man means he wants you safe and talk to you every day, right? Well, I think, you know what? It's funny because one, of course, I want this person to be safe. So if I'm looking at that circumstance, but I don't feel the need to talk every day. I don't feel that need. Now, that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be talking every day, but I don't feel it from a place of need. Okay. When you feel secure, you don't need to keep when you're together, it's great. When you're apart, you know, just a quick check-in. But I don't feel it. But if they need it to feel safe, then there's something not happening in the relationship to create safety, or there's something lacking within themselves. Okay. That's just my rough thoughts on that, Jane, but thank you for that question. Annika says, would you says, are some of the ways we recognize a secure person when dating? When it feels calm, I think that's probably the easiest recognition of a secure person. When it feels calm, when you're feeling butterflies in your stomach, that's usually an anxious attachment. And attraction doesn't, like, that's the other thing. There isn't lust going on here. Now, that's not to say I don't desire her sexually. That's not what I mean. But when it's secure, if this is secure, we'll see. It feels calm and you don't feel lusting after the person per se. Now, again, that doesn't mean you don't want to be physically with them, but you're not driven by the lust, is the way I interpret that. Okay. Tatia says, do you think feeling secure love is like feeling deep gratitude and appreciation? You know what? I'm literally, if I had a bell right now, I'd be ringing it. Ding, 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 ding. You know what? I'm shocked right now. But when I say shocked, I really have immense gratitude and appreciation for her. Like, that's really what's driving the bus for me, is gratitude and appreciation. And I just appreciate how kind she is to me. I even said to her, you're such a sweet person. Not to suggest I haven't had sweet people in my life, but there's just an endearing quality about her. But yes, I'm feeling immense gratitude and appreciation for this person. So far, anyway. Jane says, I think being friends first is vital to show concerns for you, right? I think friendship is developed over time. I don't think it's first per se, but I think it's all meshed together. It's all meshed together, building trust, building friendship, building rapport, building familiarity, physically being intimate with each other. These are all, see, what I'm going to be sharing right now is what I perceive is happening. I wrote some notes about this. I wrote some additional notes, but this is what I wrote. I said, she made time. She set aside the distractions of life, which allowed us to spend time together to form a bond. So we got a chance to, and we accelerated the getting to know you process by seeing each other 4 days in a row. A little bit here, a little bit there. And I'm differentiating now between healthy bonding and unhealthy bonding. And this is going to be the evolution of what I'm going to be teaching. Through this experience, I'm aware that I'm bonding with a person in a way that I've never done this before. And I don't know if I can articulate what healthy bonding looks like, what healthy, secure attachment, how we actually go about creating it. This is all foreign to me. I've read the books, and the books don't talk about dating. That's the thing about the book. Well, except for this book. You may want to read this book. It's called Wired for Dating by Dr. Stan Tatkin. How to understand the neurological and attachment style can help you find your ideal mate. This would probably, everybody write this book down. There's a link below to get a copy of the book. Wired for Love. Why is this so critically important? Because love attachment style is all based on seasoned relationships. It's not, because you have to get past the lust and sex phase to start experiencing this for the most part, unless you take sex out of the equation. Anyway, how to bond in a healthy way. That's what I'm going to be talking about over the next few months. All right. Michelle says, thanks for answering me. 2 types of relationships: in the friend zone, comfortable, security, attraction. I want a friend I'm crazy about. I'm going to tell you something. You got to be careful. If you're crazy about them, there's usually something unhealthy going about. I'm not crazy for this person. Do I want to see her? Absolutely. But am I crazy craving her? Not like that. Not like that. That I'm recognizing, at least for me, is the unhealthy way of approaching things. Roller Girl says, Jonathan, you're feeling her lovely heart meshing with yours. Ah, well, all I know is she's a good person, and and she's very sweet. Topical Impress and Spirit says you need a foundation of friendship in romantic relationship. Certainly building the friendship while you're building all the other factors are critically important. Somebody you can actually count on in your life. But just remember, I think of some of my dearest friends, it took decades to build. I mean, it took years to build that. It's not like it's something you build along the way, is my opinion. Tropical says, when you find yourself fighting and arguing, it's just not romantic love, but also the friendship foundation that brings you back together. There's no doubt about it. Lulu says, true love takes time. Well, certainly healthy attachment, healthy bonding takes time. It takes intentionality. It takes good emotional IQ. It takes good relationship skills. Most humans are experiencing insecure, unhealthy love, in my opinion. Maria says, not being single is so complicated nowadays. Why? Not being single. Well, that means being in relationship is complicated because humans don't know how to properly, they have poor relationship skills. That's probably why. By the way, I wrote something else I want to share with everybody. So people would argue that I overthink things, and it's clear why I might be. Reflecting on emotions is something most humans rarely do. Most humans allow their beliefs, scripts, or biology to drive the bus, and emotions are constantly get in the way, creating all kinds of crazy actions. Unconscious way of dating gets most people into trouble because we have tons of residue that drive our bus. Unresolved shit is why most couples butt up against their shit. I'm merely thinking out loud versus pretending like the inner chaos doesn't exist. Folks, the inner chaos is what's meant to be drawn out to the surface. Let me repeat that. Most of you think I overthink. I'm just reflecting on my emotions, feelings, because I'm willing to be transparent and share it. But guess what? Most humans stuff their emotions and feelings because I'm sharing what it looks like to talk about this, to be a role model in this way. At least that's my intent anyway. All right. What other questions do we have? Does anyone want to join the love seat? There's a link right here. I'll give you a chance. If we don't have a question come in a minute, we're going to be wrapping up early tonight. I'd appreciate some love. How about some love for the Connor Asley Scholarship Fund? It's funny. I've been thinking about something. Where did I write this down? I was watching the show, Nobody Wants This. And there's a scene where Joanne shares her crazy to Noah. And by the way, I'm sure this lovely lady is watching this right now, and she has a sense of what my crazy is. She's aware of this, and she hasn't run away. When somebody is willing to hold, and by the way, I know I sound like a chick because women are the ones who oftentimes, they oftentimes vomit their feelings. They're not processing their feelings in a healthy way. And I know I'm demonstrating what it seems like women do, but men are experiencing all these emotions and feelings as well. They just oftentimes stuff it. It becomes inner chaos. And then 4 months later, they break up with you because they haven't properly processed their stuff. I'm just here to show you how I'm navigating this to hopefully be a role model for all of you to process your feelings in a healthy way. Tropical says, how do you help encourage men when they have lost their identity like their job loss? Well, speaking from personal experience, I got wiped out in the market crash of 2008 and 9. I'd lost my high-end corporate job and went through a divorce a few years earlier. My identity was obliterated. My identity was obliterated. Well, you got it. 15, 16 years ago. It's taken me a hell of a lot of work to get to where I'm at today. First, I needed to find a passion in my life where this was birthed. Becoming a dating and relationship coach. Without a purpose, without a passion, it's going to be virtually almost impossible to find some semblance of happiness if you don't have something that you have a purpose in your life. Now you can't teach that to someone. They have to find it on their own. There's nothing you can do to help them. They have to help themselves. Anyway, that's my thought. Thank you. Joe Daisy says, disease can manifest from holding thoughts. It's good to talk. Exactly. You know, we will live a lot longer when we learn how to process our emotions and our feelings in a healthy way. We human beings will live a lot longer. We'll have less disease. In fact, we'll be able to conquer a lot of things when we've learned to integrate our emotions, our thoughts, and feelings in a way from a healthy place versus the unhealthy place most people do today. So Joe Daisy, thank you so much. Michelle says, I love you sharing. Thank you so much. I'm so happy this is well received. All right, come on. We need some love. We need some comments. Tell me what you're thinking right now. Write something down. I need a conversation to keep going. Oh, Samantha wrote, my husband pissed me off, so I packed his shit and didn't talk to him for 3 days. He knows all he has to do is say sorry, but he didn't. See, he's got his own unresolved shit, unfortunately, and I'm sorry that you're experiencing that. Midnight Blue says, hi, Jonathan. I sent you a $20 super sticker. First time, don't see it. It said accepted. Please check. I'm sorry. I don't see it either. I feel bad. I have no way of controlling this. That's YouTube. But thank you so much, Midnight Blue. I appreciate the love. It'll probably find its way here. So thank you so much for the love. Okay. Tropical wants to go on to say he's a couch potato, won't do anything. He has not worked since 2016. Is he your boyfriend? Is he your boyfriend? Is he someone in relationship? How does he support himself? That would be an interesting thing to know. All right, Natalie's in the house. Write something down. Hello.
Hello. Sorry.
Hi there.
Trying to make it work. Hello. So I was married for 20 years and I lost my husband.
Aww.
And I am wondering, I'm dating someone now who I'm really enthralled with. And I'm wondering, is it possible? Do you believe that there is more than one? Oh, what is the word? Now I can't think.
Soulmate.
Yes. Do you believe that there's more than one soulmate in a person's life?
Oh, I think we have hundreds, if not thousands of soulmates.
And how do you narrow that? How would you, I know what I thought of my husband, but that was, you know, it's different with every person. So how do you figure that out?
Well, first off, you have to put that relationship, and I'm using your marriage. I'm using the word relationship in the context of your marriage. And you have to put that in a completely separate box. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair to compare this person in any way to that person. And by the way, if it was the other way around and he had lost his spouse and you know, I'm assuming the man that you're talking about is divorced.
He's not. He's never been married.
Never married. Okay. But I'm sure he's had at least one relationship in his life. And maybe that broke his heart. Maybe it didn't. But you wouldn't want him to be holding, and I'm not suggesting you're holding on to your marriage or your late husband, but to compare it is an unfair thing to do.
Right.
Now, your question is, can I love again? It's really the question, right? I mean, can I love this person? Now you're saying, or can this be the kind of love I had before? Is that, by the way, when you asked about soulmates, I'm assuming you meant because you felt very much in love with your husband. Is that right?
Right. Okay. And so is it possible to rebuild something like that? Not the same, obviously, but.
So first off, the question is absolutely yes. You can absolutely build love with someone new. Absolutely. It's going to be different. It's going to feel different. Does this person highly, I mean, statistically speaking, no, statistically speaking. But then again, it's like rolling dice. Sometimes we get double sixes and sometimes we get them 2 times in a row, I mean, that can absolutely happen. But I think there's more to your question than just this. I think there's more you want to find out. So are you willing to open up to me, sharing a bit more?
I will do what I can, yes.
Okay, so what's your real question?
I feel different about this person I'm dating versus all the others that I've dated over the course of the last 2 years.
Okay, so when did your husband pass away?
2021.
Okay, so it's been, as of today, that's almost 4 years. And I'm assuming you didn't date for a little while, correct?
Yeah.
And then a couple years ago, you put yourself out in the dating marketplace. Did you how do you normally meet men?
It's always been online. One person I met locally, but everyone else, it was online.
Okay. Do you know how many roughly first dates you had till you met this person?
Lots.
Okay.
I don't know how many.
By the way, I had one woman in a 5-year period meet 80 different men, and that's not an uncommon number. Okay. So I'm assuming it's not that high, but I'm going to guess somewhere in excess of 20 men. Is that right?
I'd say that's closer to it, somewhere around 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of those 20 men, how many of them got a second? How many times did you go out on a second date?
Probably 5 or 6 times.
Okay, let's go with 6. And of those 6 men, how many got a third date?
3.
3. And of those 3, how many of them got a 5th date?
All 3.
Okay, and how long did each one of those relationships last?
Well, so this current one I'm in now is
No. I wanted to talk about the 3.
Okay.
Let's talk about those 3 first. I just need some context.
So he was in those 3. So there's only 2 others. So each one was about a year.
Okay, so you had 2 separate men that lasted a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And why did the relationships end?
One of them, the guy was super great, wonderful. He's great. But I wasn't feeling it enough. I wasn't falling in love. I wasn't liking him more or less, for that matter. It was just kind of monotone. And he was a truck driver, which made it troublesome.
Okay. What about the second guy that lasted a year?
The second one, he had too much going on. Too many women seemingly everywhere. And that I can't do any of that. So
you were with him for a year knowing he was with a lot of women?
No, he was just a big flirt.
Okay.
So I don't know how many women he was actually with, but I know he was a big flirt with a lot of people.
Okay. And which one of the 2 that you mentioned, the truck driver or the flirt, which one, which was the most recent ending?
The flirt.
And when did that end?
That was in May, I think, of last year.
May of 2024. And when did you meet the new guy?
I met him the end of June.
Okay, so the body wasn't even cold and you're on to a new person.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you've been dating him since June. How's the relationship going?
I think really well. I'm very comfortable and very attracted to him, and we have a good time and we're able to talk, and it's like, being in an adult relationship.
Okay. So do you have any fears about this relationship?
My fear is getting left. I know my husband didn't intentionally leave me, but he's gone. So he left.
Yeah.
So that's my fear.
Okay. Let's put that in a box for a second, really quickly, and I'm going to return to there in a second. When did how often do you see this gentleman that you're seeing right now? How often?
Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay.
40.
And why and how far apart do you two live?
We live a little ways away. It's about 45 minutes.
Okay, 45 minutes.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that's why. And who goes to whom?
He will typically come to me.
Okay,
I've only been there a couple times.
okay. And why don't you go to his place more often?
Um, Stupid excuse. I have a dog and a cat, so I got to take care of them. Like, I don't like to drive at night. Like, stupid
Got it.
excuses that, you know.
Got it. Okay. Hey, pets are, actually pets can be more work than children in some cases. So, okay, fair enough. How's the sex?
Great.
Okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say it out louder.
Super great.
All right, there we go. There we go. We like good sex in this channel.
Absolutely.
Okay. We like
It's
really
really
good
important.
sex in this channel. Okay. I want to address something. You know, when we lose somebody, particularly when they transition, um, versus the ending of a relationship or a breakup or a divorce, especially when we deeply love a person, it can absolutely affect our nervous system. Okay. And it is a natural byproduct to feel a sense of fear around being left, as you use the term, or loss. Okay. And it doesn't have to be a romantic love. It could be a parent, it could be a dear friend. In my particular case, my son. If you've been watching me long
Yep.
enough, you know that I lost my son. And I would say that in the initial stages of dating after my son passed away, I was very gun shy, wanting to get close to someone because I hadn't properly processed my grief. I haven't properly navigated all the different emotions from denial, anger, depression, bargaining, all of these feelings. So it's very natural to feel a sense of fear that somebody could abandon you. Okay. Most of the time we experience this in just, unfortunately, betrayal, ghosting, combative, toxic behavior. We experience something different oftentimes, or we experience out of the blue breakups, which can affect our nervous system. So all of what I'm trying to say is all these things affect our nervous system. Okay.
Mhm.
And so it's natural to feel that way. Do you feel as though you're properly grieved your husband? And when I say properly, I don't think we ever goes away, but do you
Right.
feel like, you're not charged by it, or your late husband, excuse me, you're not charged by it anymore?
I feel like, no, I'm not charged by it anymore. I have been in therapy ever since and continue to be, and so that has definitely helped and helped me to recognize my emotions and realize, everything. So I don't feel like I'm charged by that
Okay.
anymore.
Okay. So coming back to this gentleman, um, you know, it takes a good year to
Mhm.
really bond with a person. I mean, but this is not an absolute timeline, but it takes a year or two to fully bond and build the deep roots of trust with someone, especially if it's built in a very healthy way through social activities, hobbies, mutual interest, spending time with family and friends. When all of that is when you're building the roots to trust, you're bonding with a person. Um, you know, have you guys had any arguments? How's the conflict resolution between the two of you? What about that?
We haven't been in an argument. It's
Okay.
just so calm and so peaceful. Kind of what you were talking about earlier, which is kind of why I was like, maybe I should call.
Yeah. Um, by the way, until you get through by the way, now I'm going to tell you something though. You got to get through these threshold barriers that sometimes you need a good fight to get through it so you can move past it. Okay. But and I'm not suggesting that you jump into a fight with them today, but
I was going to ask, should I instigate a fight?
Yeah. You know, I would say navigating our differences is one of the ways we build deeper love with a person, when we can navigate our differences. I've got some notes on that. Especially adjusting to different personalities, different habits, you know, that's all part of the process of building love, is navigating the differences. But I'm going to tell you something else. When you can identify your needs, wants, and desires, and express it to the person and address those needs, wants, and desires, when you address your emotions and such, that's how you build the deeper roots of trust with a person.
And I feel like I am not overwhelmingly sharing everything all the time, but I feel like I have done that more so than he.
Well, so if you're more verbally expressive about the relationship, it's an invitation for him to also express as well. I mean, so I think it's radically important that couples do check-ins and talk about the state of affairs of their relationship. I know one couple that does it once a month. They do a check-in every month. They call it the state of affairs, you know, kind of thing. And they check in with each other. I believe that's a healthy way to build deeper, lasting, longer love, when you check in with each other's emotions and feelings. And if you get any flack on it, that's a person who doesn't care about your emotions and feelings. That's not a good sign. All right. Has this been enough help for you? Have we addressed this?
I think so. I think we're good. Yes.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm just making a note. So, Natalie, thanks for joining us on the Love Seat. I tried to be as calm and kind as possible. I hope you got some value out of this conversation. I wish your relationship luck, and I hope you come back in a few months and let us know how it's going. Okay.
I sure will. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug.
And to you too. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a bunch. Bye now. All right. Natalie was brave enough to go on the Love Seat and share with us her question. First off, she was brave enough to share with us some of her past experiences, how that might have affected her in her current relationship. I think the question is, do we know when we're with our soulmates? Coming back to secure love, I think when you're in a secure, healthy relationship, it feels calm. It doesn't feel overly over the top, over the moon. It just feels calm. And when you feel calm, I think that's a great sign that you're with somebody that might have some long-term legs in this. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to get all the books I recommend. There's a link to get my dating vows, which you desperately need my dating vows. It's listed below. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Natalie. I want to thank Roller Girl, Stacy, Doug, Midnight Blue, RM Lynn, Lisa, Trista, Annika, Diamond, Joe Daisy, Black Raven, Stacy, Tropical Empress, Doug, I already said that. Everybody, thanks so much for the love. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful evening. Bye now. Bye-bye.